Tonight on Inside Louisiana Athletics, it was a weekend doubleheader for the Ragin Cajuns as the women faced Troy and the men stood toe-to-toe with Georgia Southern. Darren Walker is joined by men's basketball head coach Bob Marlin and women's basketball coach Gary Broadhead with the latest. And just days away from the 2020 debut of Ragin Cajuns baseball, we get to know infielder Hayden Cantrell. But first, Dan McDonald and Eric Mouton break down the busy weekend that was for Ragin Cajuns basketball. You're watching Inside Louisiana Athletics.
Thanks, Marcel. It was a tough Saturday for Louisiana's men's and women's basketball team in Sun Belt Conference play at the Cajun Dome. Cajun men losing a tough one to Georgia Southern after the Cajun women falling in the closing moments to the league-leading Troy Trojans. I'm Dan McDonald along with Eric Mouton. And Eric, first for the women's team. They played a very good Troy team that they had beaten over in Troy earlier this year. That gave Troy its only conference loss. Just ran out of steam a little bit down the end. And Troy's rebounding advantage was absolutely huge throughout the ballgame.
Yeah, it was huge. They had 34 total rebounds, but also off of those rebounds, they're able to score 22 points.
21 offensive rebounds for Troy in the ballgame. You see one of them there as Alexis Dye puts it back home. She had 18 points and 10 rebounds. Cajuns hung in, though, and the reason they were able to hang in was they forced 19 turnovers from Troy and were able to convert off those turnovers. Like you said, 22-6 off turnovers as the Cajuns hit some three-pointers. In fact, this game was tied at 61 with just a couple of minutes left with a couple of key offensive rebounds. Andrea Canoyer gets the basket there. Skyward Goodwin with a jump shot that keeps it close. Back out front, Brandy Williams with a shot inside, but Troy was just too much inside. Big sweep move there by Japonica James. Cajuns overall on the night, only 4 for 23 from three-point range, and that didn't help any.
Yeah, and too much bench scoring as well. Troy's bench outscored Louisiana 29-9, so depth playing a part in that game as well.
3 double-figure scorers. Canoyer leads the way with 16 points. Brandy Williams with 15. Ty Doucette with 10. But the Cajuns fall in that one. That was followed by the Cajun men taking on Georgia Southern, a game that Georgia Southern won easily in Statesboro earlier this year against a shorthanded Cajun team. Tonight they weren't quite as shorthanded, but still playing really with not very much depth, and that was a big factor in the ballgame in the last 4 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, I think depth played a big part, and fast break points also in favor of the Eagles was 31-9.
For the Cajuns, Cedric Russell, as you said, did all he could. 23 points in the ballgame. 3 three-pointers as one of 4 double-figure scorers. But Georgia Southern had the 1-2 punch. Ike Smith and Quan Jackson combined for 48. And the 2 of them combined were 18 of 23 from the field.
Yeah, both of them played extremely well. And Jackson doing most of his damage in the second half, just like he did Thursday in Monroe.
The Eagles 32 of 55 from the field, 58%. Cajuns shot 48% themselves, but down at the end, tired group, missed some free throws, and Georgia Southern took advantage.
Yeah, they were shooting from the free throw line. They were outstanding Thursday, 19 from 20. Tonight they were only 13 of 20.
Georgia Southern wins 86-79 over the Cajuns. Louisiana falls to 5-9 in Sun Belt Conference play.
Next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, our Darren Walker is joined by men's basketball head coach Bob Marlin.
Let's go boom.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, mange. If you're happy and you know it, I think I will help you show it. If you're happy and you know it, mange.
Coming off a historic 11-win season,
Billy Napier and his team want you to commit to the culture.
get your football general admission season tickets for only $60 today.
Louisiana Athletics is offering a $5 per month payment plan.
But watch out, because prices increase to $110 after March 1st.
In 2020, you can expect big games like McNeese, Wyoming, South Alabama, and much more. Louisiana Athletics is offering a $5 per month payment plan.
Call the ticket office at 337-265-2170 or visit the ticket office at the Cajun Dome. Go Cajuns!
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. 1 month ago, the men's basketball team made the Georgia swing and came back with a 38-point loss to Georgia State and a 20-point loss to Georgia Southern. Those two teams back in Lafayette this week to make the Lafayette swing. Joining us now to talk about that is the head coach, Bob Marlin. Thursday night against Georgia State, a really good first half for you guys. You shot 49%. Malik, Jalen, and PJ really kind of led the way in a very good first half for you guys.
Did a good job, got off to a good start, made some shots, and defense was good, minus a few turnovers that led to easy opportunities.
43-37 was the halftime lead. However, the Panthers would go on a 20-4 run to start the second half. There were some good things to come later in the game, and I promise we'll get to that part. But those first 13 minutes were a little rough.
We're difficult. We were having trouble scoring the basketball. We weren't making shots and turned it over. But we went several possessions out of field goal, and then we didn't get back in transition, didn't get matched up, and gave easy baskets. So we lost the lead very quickly and then built a deficit for ourselves.
I mentioned the last 7 minutes, things really got turned around at that point. You made 7 of your last 12 field goals. You scored 28 points in that span, and you really got some solid guard play down the stretch. Cedric Russell had 2 huge three-point shots, and the second one gave you the lead with 25 seconds left.
Yeah, it was huge. Cedric played well. He stepped up in a big moment and made the big shots for us, and then we got the ball back and had the opportunity to go for the win, and we chose to go with Malik. He made a great play, got to the basket, went around 3 defenders and laid it in.
Yeah, Georgia State tied the game at 78 with free throw shots, 15 seconds left. And talk about that decision to put it in the hands of the true freshman and talk about what the play was designed to do.
Well, we started to go with Cedric. He had the hot hand, but we chose to give it to Malik, let him penetrate. We just felt like he's got the ability to get around their bigs. We knew they were going to hedge a ball screen. He drugged the big with him, went around his man, the big, and then went around another big as he got to the rim. And actually, if he'd have missed the shot, Tyler Smith was right there to dunk it back in.
Yeah, no turnovers in the last 12 minutes either. That was huge. And you get a very, let's say, satisfying 80-78 win to avenge that earlier 38-point loss. They went a little bit conservative, did they not, in the last 4 to 5 minutes? And I thought that kind of took them out of their rhythm a little bit.
It's a great point, Darren. We switched defenses and went to a zone defense with about 6 minutes to go, 5 minutes change, and they went to a little bit of a prevent, if you will. It did. It slowed the pace of the game down, and sometimes you can do that and it plays your favor, and it certainly did Thursday night.
Right. Georgia Southern on Saturday night, a very entertaining first half. Both teams shot the ball well. You guys 43%, but Georgia Southern 60%. Statistically, looking at the game, you know, they were very even when it came to rebounds and turnovers and steals, but they seemed to turn the turnovers into points directly.
They really did. It's something we'd emphasized all week on trying to do a better job of protecting the basketball and scoring against their press. It's not that great, but we gave it right to them several times, just what we did in moments against Georgia State, and it really hurt us in this basketball game.
7-point lead is what you had with 6.5 minutes to go, and then Georgia Southern really starts to heat up down the stretch. And then at the same time, everybody in the building kind of had the same opinion, was that things just started to wear down on your guys.
Yeah, we had some fatigue. We were shorthanded at guard. We've got another injury with Calvin Temple and just don't have the depth on the bench that we need to rest Cedric. He's still having some foot issues. He tried to take it on himself a little bit late and missed a couple that he normally would make. And part of it was due to fatigue. But turnovers and fatigue cost us in that game. We didn't get back in transition. And we also let their 2 all-conference players shoot 9 for 10 and 9 for 13. So 18 of 23 is going to win some games for you.
Right. Cedric, PJ each played 40 minutes, Jalen 35. This week you head to Alabama. Thursday you're going to go to Mobile to face the Jags, a team that you lost to earlier by 3 points, and then on Troy on Saturday, a team that you beat by 17 points. Just a couple more opportunities to start climbing the ladder.
Yeah, we had a great opportunity on Saturday night to really move up and get in the middle of the pack. We didn't do it, but we still have time left to do that. We're going to play teams that are directly above us and certainly want to play well and try to advance and get as high a seed as we can in the tournament.
All right, Coach, thanks for the time. As always, we'll see you next week.
Coming up next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, women's basketball head coach Gary Broadhead breaks down last week for the Ragin Cajuns.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
Hey y'all, get your softball season tickets today. Head coach Jerry Glasgow and his crew are back after a 52-6 season last year. We have our season opener February 7th versus Ball State, and exciting games all year round, including the one versus LSU right here in Lamson Park on February 15th. You don't want to miss this, so get your season tickets today at RaginCajuns.com/SBTix. We can't wait to see you there. Go Cajuns!
Let's go boom.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. Women's basketball still holds the 6th spot in the Sun Belt Conference standings with 7 games to go in the regular season, despite dropping a couple this past week. Here to talk about that is the head coach, Gary Broadhead. Let's start Thursday in Mobile. I was watching the game on the broadcast, and their broadcast team mentioned on a few occasions about how notorious the Jags were for getting out to slow starts. That was not the case this time. They shot 50%, and Savannah Jones had 21 in the first half, and they take an 18-point lead at halftime.
Yeah, no doubt. They came out, gunning. They just, inside out. They got the complete game inside out. I call it a three-headed monster, and they just they started off hitting shots and finished off hitting shots. But yes, the Jones kid played really well. I think she was 5 for 5 from the three, and and rebounded and did everything. But they, they played a complete game, I thought. And we kind of took them out of it a little bit as we went into our press and stuff, but just couldn't maintain it.
Yeah, the big hole, it seems to be something that keeps showing itself. but most of the time you can dig your way out of it, and this time it was a little too deep.
Yeah, we cut it to 5, and pressing and turning it over. Actually, we had a big turnover where we got pushed out of bounds, and all the officials weren't in position, so it was like a no call. It went from a turnover to giving the ball back, and I thought it was kind of a big play because we were on a momentum, and we were coming right at them, and I was impressed how we could come back, but and then again they started hitting shots again, and they never gave in. They just were aggressive they were going to shoot it no matter what. We went actually and sagged a little bit, and they were still shooting it, man. They just were very, very aggressive.
Saturday back at the Dome hosting the league-leading Troy Trojans. Very competitive first half. Really nip and tuck for about 17 minutes, but they go on a mini run there at the end to give themselves a 7-point lead at the half.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of scary too, because we were changing lineups and all that, and I thought we were doing a pretty good job of controlling the tempo, and all of a sudden they just came out and started scoring quickly, and I'm like, whoa, here we go again. It's kind of their DNA, is they want to shoot it to go get it and rebound, and that's kind of what they did. And I thought they started the game, fairly well too, hitting shots and all that, but we were able to maintain the second half and kind of control it a little bit more.
Yeah, you came out in the second half with a 5-0 run to cut the lead down, and then it was really just a battle. Especially in the fourth quarter, you guys were exchanging the lead back and forth. Just talk about the way the fourth quarter went.
Well, I don't know, man. It felt like it took us a while to get the lead, and man, right when we turned around, they get it right back. They scored so quick, and I thought there was a couple of plays down the stretch that we missed some rebounds and gave them some second chance points, and they were threes. That kind of hurt us. But I thought even at the end with 14 seconds left, we had an opportunity. We had inbounds plays. I thought we had a couple of looks. We passed them up, and then we took a tough shot to miss it to tie it. But overall, I was pleased with our effort, especially not turning over the ball and controlling the tempo.
You mentioned you have 7 regular season games left. You've been through some tough battles this year. How do you think that's getting you ready for postseason?
Oh, I think it is. I think it is. It's like we've been tested. I've talked about this week, these last 3 games that have been really tough, and they're testing us, and how are we going to respond to it? And I thought we really responded well Saturday, even though we didn't get the win. I could see in Friday's practice we were a lot more upbeat, a lot more energy, and in Saturday morning shoot around. So, I think it's really tested us and found out, hey, what do we need to do? One of the things that we really need to focus on is our rebounding.
Georgia State, Georgia Southern coming into the Cajun Dome this week. A chance for you to kind of get back on track, and then the plus is that you get to do it at home.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's good to be home, and now it's a great opportunity to get a couple of wins. They're playing really well right now, but it's a lot of times it's about matchups. So Georgia State, they're a little bit bigger. They play inside games and be a little bit tougher. And then you look at Georgia Southern, they're more guard oriented, and they like to shoot the 3. So we'll have our hands full, but we got a great opportunity to get back going.
Before the Georgia Southern game, though, Saturday morning is the Andrea Broadhead Foundation Cancer Walk. Here are all of the details. Everything is at the Cajun Dome. Registration is at 8:30 a.m. Coach will welcome everyone at 10. At 11, the walk begins, and it'll last about an hour. A meet and greet with the team at 1, and then tip off with Georgia Southern at 2. $10 gets you the walk, t-shirt, and a ticket. $5 gets you the t-shirt. All proceeds go to the Andrea Broadhead Foundation. And we talked about this last week, but I wanted to give you the opportunity to do it again, to talk about how much this means to you to have people come out and support this.
Well, it's great. Thanks for letting me talk about it. But it's important to our program and to our kids, because we bring in survivors and all that, and we want to have the message out about awareness. And my wife would have wanted this, and so it's big for us, to be able to have this opportunity to do the walk and to honor her legacy of what she did for women's basketball in our area. And not only that, but to have survivors come in and tell their stories. It's a great day for our young women to listen to different stories of people, going through things and how they get through things. So it's a great opportunity for our community to kind of come together and sponsor. The walk is going to actually provide a scholarship at UL for someone with cancer or a family member. So it gives an opportunity for us to give back to someone that may be suffering with cancer.
Sounds like a great time. Thanks, Coach, for the time. We'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Coming up next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, just days away from the 2020 debut of Ragin Cajun baseball, we get to know infielder Hayden Cantrell.
Ragin Cajun fans, the fan favorite concessions that you know and love are returning for this spring. Fan favorites such as a $1 hot dog, popcorn, and potato chips, $2 cheese quesadilla, and $2 domestic beer. And new for Diamond Sports, $3 domestic cans and drafts, a $4 draft craft, and $4 Boudin links. Once again, your fan-friendly pricing is back, including your favorite Ragin Kids boxes, like the $7 burger, fry, fruit snack, and drink box, and the $5 popcorn, fruit snack, and drink box. Fan-friendly concession prices are back for the spring. Go Cajuns!
Let's go boom. Let's go boom.
Marcel Johnson alongside Hayden Cantrell. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
My first question, your hair.
Yeah, so I get that question a lot. Growing up, I had, brown hair, always growing up. Last summer, some of my friends were like, yo, man, you should try it. And so I just did. And, ended up, having some hits in it. So it's just going to stay, I guess.
Where you from?
I'm from Lafayette, born and raised. I'm a local boy, and that's what makes playing here so awesome. I get to represent my community and a lot of friends and family at the same time.
When did baseball start for you?
Baseball started, early for me. For a lot of kids, it starts at 4, but for me, it was like 18 months. There's videos of me on my dad's old camcorder. He's throwing me like one-hop balls on the wiffle ball, and I'm just hitting them on the one-hop. But that's when really, I guess you could say I loved it. I don't remember those days, but I guess you could say it started there.
So you're from Lafayette. You chose the University of Louisiana. Just talk about that process for you.
Yeah, the process was crazy. For a lot of kids, the recruiting process, is slow to begin with. It's fast. It gets on you all of a sudden. So, going through high school, I wanted to be a dual sport athlete. I wanted to play football and baseball. And so, going through high school, I played both, and baseball was one that started to reach out a little bit more than football did. So I realized that was a sport it was going to be. And so over the course of summer, I had been recruited by a few programs, some local, some out of state, and this was the best fit for me. So,
out of high school, you were drafted by the Yankees. What was that like?
That was super nostalgic. It was probably one of the coolest moments of my life. It was kind of funny how it happened. It was the third day of the draft. I wasn't expecting to get drafted anymore. I was at my house and I went to go swim in the backyard, and I came back and my phone was frozen. And I was like, why is my phone working? But yeah, I learned out through Twitter. Somebody had tagged me in a tweet. So I got a ton of missed calls from my friends and my parents, and I figured out through Twitter of all things. Yeah.
Twitter, that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool though.
Okay, Coach Robichaux, what would you say your favorite memory is?
I My favorite memory, I mean, there's so many to pick from. I think one that points out to me the most, you know, it was a first weekend at Texas, my first start or whatever. I struck out my first career at bat, and I came down the steps and I was so frustrated. I was kind of sped up too. I was a freshman. I was kind of sped up, and he just looked at me and he put his hands on both my shoulders and goes, "Okay, you got that out the way now. Like, it's all good." And so you know, we both laughed, and I was like, "Yeah, you know," and you know, that's something I always remember him for.
Favorite robism?
Yeah. So actually, you know, tagging along with that, you know, don't let the monkey on your back become King Kong. You know, he told me that a few times. He said, you know, you have opportunities to do a lot of great things, but you can't let, you know, small things, you know, just own you. And so, you know, that's definitely one that sticks out.
New head coach, Matt Deggs. How's that been?
It has been tremendous. You know, one legend leaves or goes, unfortunately, and, you know, another one fills his place. Coach Deggs has been, he's been, you know, after Robe, he's been one of the greatest things that's happened to my baseball career to this point. I've only known him for one semester, and he's done so much for me, you know, mentally and physically, you know, as a baseball player. But, you know, there's times like I'll go spend it in his office, you know, because he's that kind of guy. You know, you can ask him about anything. And so, you know, I'm very fortunate to have him as my head coach.
Expectations for you and the team?
I think, you know, everyone's expectation is, you know, so that you reach your potential. You don't want to leave anything out there. And so all that you ask is that you put in as much work as you possibly can, and, you know, you perform to your best of your abilities. You know, after all that, everything's tapped out. And so, you know, this team has a lot of heart. You know, this is a championship caliber team. And, you know, I'm just super excited, you know, to see how far we go. You know, outside of that, it's just pure excitement, you know, nothing else.
Fun questions. What would you say your favorite movie is and why?
Oh, my favorite movie. I like the movie Tombstone.
Okay.
It's an old kind of Western kind of movie. You know, I haven't seen a ton of those, but I watched one in high school. One of my coaches put it on, and we used to watch it before games because, you know, it was about confrontation and stuff like that. And so, you know, you find a lot in baseball. You know, it's kind of relevant to that. You know, every at-bat is a confrontation between you and the pitcher. And every time you step on the field, it's a confrontation between you and the other team. So, you know, life is about confrontations, and how you handle them, you know, kind of chooses what kind of person you're going to be.
If you could meet one person, who would it be?
I really like, I like Gary Vee.
Okay.
Gary Vee's, you know, he's a very motivational guy. And he has, you know, he's empowered so many people, and I feel like, you know, at some point in life, you know, I want to be able to change lives like he changes lives. So,
last question: what would you say your favorite childhood memory is?
I think my favorite childhood memory would be playing wiffle ball in the backyard with my dad. You know, that was awesome. You know, I wouldn't trade those moments for the world.